Let's play Voidblazers by tkers and cookiejazzie, $6 on itch. And if there's any justice in this world, it will be on the catalogue soon. The music is by Andrea Baroni and needs special mention here, and we'll get into that a bit later. It's a top-down shooter, 2D. Some really nice options here. Now, there's a lot to this game. It is described as a 2D top-down shooter, a cozy shooter, but it's very strong on the characters and also the story that unfolds over the 25 missions you'll be playing. At the first part of this quick review, I will be talking about the game as a shooter just on its own merits. And on its own merits as a shooter, it would be one of the best on the Playdate, without question. It is just solid. I absolutely love this game. I'm a big fan of things like Galaxians, Xevious, just any kind of shooters from the kind of 80s era I really like. Massive fan of Mooncrester, and there's little flavors of that throughout. It's a real homage to all the shooters that we might know and love. It's solid on its own merits. It has that really pleasing feel when you shoot and remove the villains. A nice sort of thud. The sound effects are top notch. But more than that, the characters that you're shooting here actually have backstories and are part of this larger universe. It's almost like Dune Light in its court intrigue, but we'll get into that later as that's another part of this review. As a shooter, it's seemingly quite relaxing, pleasant pace. I very much enjoy it, and it has one of the best power-up mechanics I think I've ever seen. I just love it. As you're firing here, you might see a shooting star go by, a wishing star if you like. And if you see it and press B, then you get your shield replenished. And in the bottom left there, you can see how many bits of shield you have left. Now, it might sound kind of okay, but in practice, it's fantastic because you catch the shooting star on the kind of peripheral of your vision. And much like you do in real life, it has the same feeling, weirdly enough, and it's just really, really nice. You don't know if you're going to see it, you might blink and miss it, you might be too involved in trying to sort out what you're doing on the screen. It can get quite intense. To take a break from the carnage, there are shops you can enter and meet your wonderful host, Monsieur Cosmo, I think his name is. He's a French pastry chef come dodgy fence, used goods salesman. He's a friend and he's very cool. For some reason, if you buy 3 pastries, you get the next one free. But you also get things like hull upgrades, faster weapons, faster ship abilities. I say weapons, there's only one weapon in the game, but it's enough and you can speed it up using your upgrades here. More than that, you can buy a number of really cool collectibles, and they can be anything, and they're often very, very funny. I don't want to spoil some of the really nice Easter eggs that are in here, but there's some really good meta jokes in here. And it helps build this universe out even fuller. The cool thing is, the items that you buy are then integrated into the conversation and into the story as it goes forward. This is, another playthrough for me, so I've unlocked more and more, and there's just more fun dialogue, more surprises, more humour, more great writing. It's quirky, it's whimsical, it's very, very cool. So I love coming to the shop and seeing what else I can buy, and I'm hoping to collect all the goodies here. Throughout the game, there are these little interstitials and conversations between the 2 main protagonists, Jin and Echo. They're 2 lead female characters who have a comrade-in-arms relationship. They're obviously very good friends. There might be a little bit more, perhaps some romance. All intriguing, and their characters develop beautifully. You become really fond of them as you play the game. The ship Icarus also becomes a kind of character within this game. As you acquire more objects in the shop, you start to realise that all sorts is going on in this kind of seemingly normal shooter ship, which never has any personality in the old games, but here there's a greenhouse in there. The 2 women are developing their relationship together. They're dealing with insane robots, they're dealing with board games, and all sorts of different cool things. And it starts to add up layer by layer, this game. So not only is it a super, super sharp shooter, it's also funny, it's a touch moving, it's always interesting. In fact, there's not a boring second in this game. The game has a well-judged assist mode, which you can opt into after you die a number of times in one of the missions. I really like this. You never give anything less than your 100% while playing the game. Because it's so good, you always want to play it properly, but sometimes it's very hard. And with other shooters, I find when I get to the third or fourth boss and I can't beat it and I keep trying to play and I find it so frustrating. But here, that's removed and it's just pure fun all the way. The overall impression is that of a lovingly crafted piece of work. It is so good. Every inch of it has something in it that's been thought through and crafted. They must have had a blast making this game, because even the hold screen, the characters have a bit of dialogue or add something to the lore or the story. Every element of it works together to create this fantastic, I'd say, AAA title on this tiny device. You'd be crazy not to go out and play this. If you don't like it when you play it, I suspect you don't like video games. It is so good. And just one more thing, the Codex. This details all your crew members and gives a huge amount of lore about them. And there's lots of callbacks and references and just world building. You can investigate the fleets. Learn more about the aliens you encounter and get their motives and their backstories and how they relate to one another. Within the fleets, you can select any of the aliens that you've been fighting against and play them again. What a lovely addition to have, just tucked away in the options here. Hone your skills, learn the attack patterns, and simply try to get your highest score. If you can't tell by now, I like this game a lot. It deserves a permanent place on your Playdate, and these developers deserve every single success. Do I have any criticisms of this game? I don't. I think it's a near-on perfect video game for me. A few wish lists perhaps, a couple of nice to haves, a few different gun types could be interesting, a high score table, always welcome, and I'd love to see a graphical representation and some blurb about the items you get from the shop. But I'm being greedy. This developer has provided so much entertainment for your $6, it'd be churlish to ask for anything more. And finally, a word on the score. This is the first title on Playdate Player out of 63 so far reviewed to score a 10 out of 10. Woohoo! Now I know we're not exactly Polygon or Edge or IGN or anything over here, but we don't give 10s away willy-nilly, oh no. So well done team, it really deserves that 10, and it deserves a place on every Playdate player's Playdate.